We're live.
Hold on.
Should we do a skit?
I don't know how to act.
What do you mean you don't know how to? Why are we frozen on there?
Okay, there
Hey
we
everybody. Okay. Hey everybody. Happy Halloween. Do you celebrate Halloween? We don't really. That's why we're going live.
go. Yeah, we don't celebrate.
Number one, I'm keto. I don't eat any candy. And Halloween, frankly, scares me. I don't like scary things. I don't watch scary movies.
It doesn't scare me, but I feel like it's not part of who I am. So
Yeah. So anyway, I do like costumes though. So yeah, we are excited to be back. I'm sorry for the delay in the group. France was exhausting, and then I got sick, really sick for a week, and I never get sick.
And I stayed far away from her because I don't
she
want to
always
get sick.
gets sick. And then I had to, as soon as I got better, and not even quite better, I jumped on a plane and went to Zeb and Jamie's grand opening. So we are a little bit behind on the worksheets and the live videos, but we're playing catch up. We've got a lot of fun things planned for the worksheets. And tonight, we are going to tell you all the insider things about our trip to France that I can't say to the public because I have to be really careful what I say about our trip because it was, what was it, Danielle? How would you describe it in a few words?
I've been describing it as the Chevy Chase European vacation times 10. Like anything that can go wrong, it did go wrong.
Yeah. To be very frank, we were scammed. We were scammed. We fell into a trap by a woman who has a long history of promising all these things, this wonderful trip to France, and not coming through on it and making a lot of money without delivering on any of her promises. And how we were treated was very mild compared to all the horror stories that I have now heard from other people. I'm in a private Facebook group with other people who have been on trips to France with this woman, and we are all documenting our trips, and the stories I have heard are heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. I think they treated us better because many of the people on our trip have pretty strong social media platforms. So I think she was a little bit holding back because she knew that if we didn't have a good time, we would say so.
Well, and also we started getting a little bit of feedback very, very early on in the trip from previous trips, so we kind of had a heads up.
Yeah, we had a heads up a few days before we left, and so I let her know, hey, we've had a heads up that your last trip is very unhappy, and so I tried to do some damage control before we even left. I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt because by that time we bought our airline tickets, we've paid our $2,300 for her to give us the tour, and nobody wanted to lose that money. So we were all hoping that we could make the best of it.
And we all became tour guides ourselves.
Yes, yes, we did. A learning experience, definitely, Lois.
It was disappointing, but it was definitely, I think that with all suffering, there is personal growth to be experienced. It's how you look at it. Like, we can sit and complain about it, but honestly, I think there's a lot of silver lining that can be had and seen from it. We learned invaluable lessons, and that's what I want to share with you. Yeah. But I was in desperate need for a vacation. I had not taken a vacation in I don't know how long, and so that was my hope that it would be profitable, that I could find things for my store to resell. You still need one.
And yeah, I came back more exhausted than I have ever been. We stayed in 4 different houses in 7 days. And we spent most of the time on the road driving. Like, how many hours do you think we spent driving in the car?
Oh, it was probably 70% in the car, and the rest of it was running around, racing,
trying to cram in something.
Yeah. We never saw the light of day on the road. Like, we were always driving at nighttime either.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's read some of the comments. How many of you have been to France or hope to go to France in the future? Because I want to share with you what not to do and what I would do if I were going back.
Well, I think, let's see, Cobweb Afternoon. If I ever go to France, I'll definitely contact you for tips. We're going to give tips. Like, I think, like, some of the biggest tips I think that you could give anybody going to France is, now where to go and the key words to search for on the internet. It's not antique. It's not the word antique or thrift. It's what, Garnier?
Garnier and charity shops.
Charity.
So, a lot of, we only went to one flea market, or I think they call them brocantes, that our tour guide had actually scheduled for us. And when we got there, there was maybe 10 vendors there, and all their prices were really high. And it seemed like she did not want us to actually know where to find the bargains. And then we went to the famous Paris flea market on the last day, and those prices were crazy high. We ended up like veering off down a street and a couple alleyways in kind of a sketchy part of town, and we did find some deals there. But if you go to France, you want to search the word Granier. I'm going to have to put the spelling in or ask Jamie Ray what it is. But basically it means attic sale. So in France, most people don't have garages, they have attics. So our garage sale, the equivalent in France is attic sale. And we, because of Jamie Ray's followers and some of you on here suggested that we search that word, Jamie Ray put it into the GPS and we found a neighborhood French yard sale / attic sale. And the prices were amazing, and most of the things.
Nadine just typed it. Thank you, Nadine.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we had time to stay at that one, I think that would have been lovely.
We could have easily filled our car with all of the things and only spent a few euros. Like, I found a whole bunch of vintage dessert tins, the really beautiful ones with all the stamping that I saw at the other, I saw them at the flea market for 10 euros each in Paris, and I got maybe 15 of them for 2 euros.
And chairs at the store.
I think they're at the store. But next week we're going to give you an inside tour of the shop when it's closed, and I'm going to walk you through all of my Christmas displays are up, and I'm going to share with you my display tips and what sells for me in my store. What's that comment? I see Laura has. I went in July. I love that we didn't take a tour. I didn't get to see flea market, which I wanted to do. I think the owner of the Paris apartment does flea market tours. Yeah, I've heard there are definitely some good tours to take, but with modern technology now, you can easily find an Airbnb. We had to find an emergency Airbnb to get out of the the ghost town that she put us in.
Which was beautiful, but we didn't need to be there 4 nights.
No, it was 5 hours outside of Paris, and she had us there for 4 nights. And what I found, oh gosh, am I gonna start coughing again?
She took us there for one
She took us there for 2 reasons.
Oh, 2.
So, the first night we stayed right outside of Paris, and because we got to our house about 5 o'clock at night, we basically ate dinner and went to bed because of jet lag. And then the next morning we got up and we drove to Versailles, which was an hour. She had us booked at Versailles for 2 hours. 2 hours. That's like going to Disneyland for 2 hours. Like Versailles.
The tour takes 2 hours, but that's not how much time you need there. We spent 8 hours there.
Yeah, we spent 8 or 9 hours there. And then we had dinner about 7 o'clock. So we finished dinner on basically that was the first day, the first real day. Around, I guess, 9:30, 10 o'clock, we got in our car and we didn't pay attention to the itinerary.
Well, we did, but we thought she had a reason for it. She said it was only 3 hours away.
Yeah, it was
traffic. It was 5. It was 5 hours by the time we got there.
Yeah, so we get there late at night, and it was a beautiful, deserted ghost town. Very picturesque, like being inside a postcard. And so the next morning, we all slept in a little bit. We woke up and we're like, okay, it must be amazing here. There must be amazing flea markets and flea market shopping. And we spent the whole day going from store to store to store. Half of them were closed. All the restaurants were closed. Nobody was on the street, and there was nothing. It was nothing. It was like, even the clothing stores were like really bad fashion from the 80s. Everything seemed to be stuck in the 80s.
Behind, very behind.
Yeah. So I said to her, I'm like, why are we here? Like, and I said, what about that store that you promised us with all the bargains? What?
What was up with the soap?
The soap, yeah. So she had promised us, like on the way there, that we were in a gas station and we were about to buy these beautiful French soaps that were €2 each. And I thought, oh, I can sell these for $5 in my store. They're beautifully packaged. And she stopped me from buying them and said, no, I'm going to take you to a store where you can buy soap for 30 cents. And so after a whole day of, she promised us a tour of a macaroon museum, which was nothing, a bakery with no museum, and it wasn't even pretty. And we walked in and out of all the shops, and then I'm like, where is this place with the 30-cent soaps? Like, by that time I was getting antsy. She takes us to her apartment, basically.
And calls it a store.
Yeah. And
I'm like,
and
this is a store? This is
No.
a place where somebody lives.
And it was dirty, and it was cold, and there was nothing there that I wanted to buy, and the soaps were dirty and unwrapped, and there was like a stack of 4 of them. And Mara called them the butt wipe soaps.
Yeah, they weren't, somebody said that they were hairy. No, they weren't hairy, they were just dirty and
Dusty and no
Yeah.
wrapping on them. No way would I ever sell those soaps to anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was your take? Because I want Danielle to share her take, because Danielle is like, she's not a DIYer. She doesn't really, I mean, your house is decorated with cute vintage things that I've suggested, but you're not really, she organizes my life. She does all my bookkeeping, but she's not like an insider antique vintage person.
I mean, I kind of went on this trip more with the mindset that I was gonna, help you do things and have some glittery fun on the side. And when I'm one of those, I do a lot of mental math. So when I asked for the itinerary, I started Googling like where we were staying and how far that was from the events we were doing. And it didn't make sense to me at all. But she had on the itinerary, in some of these faraway places, all these brocantes. So I'm like, okay, she must know that there's some great shopping to do far away, and that's why we're traveling so much. But it didn't add up being on there. I'm thinking 5 hours in the car? Like, why? That was,
for 3 days out of the 7 days. Yeah.
And so as we progressed in time, we started to realize just how, and then when did you say already that we found out? I mean, like, it all made sense. The dots started connecting once we found out that the store, the house, the apartment that she took us to was her stuff. So
she looked at all of us, because most of us were store owners. Kathy and Sarah both own a store. Zeb and Jamie just opened a store. I own a store. And Mara owns a store. So Josie and Dion were the only ones who didn't have a store. But Josie was building a new house, and she said she wanted to get furnishings for her new house. So she was thinking, I'm going to sell them my hoarded house full of furniture and make all this money on these people.
Make more money.
And it wasn't even priced at a bargain price that we could resell.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
And it was gross.
So once we realized it was her stuff and that she was making, being very, very deceitful about that, then everything started to make sense.
Yeah, that's why she made us go out there. And then I'm thinking, okay, but why 3 days? Like, why? Then I find out later that this is her MO, that with every single trip, she says that there's going to be a chef to give us a cooking class. And when I saw that on the itinerary, I said to her, like, we had a private Facebook group for just the people going on our trip, and I have screenshots of everything. And I said, I don't want to go to a cooking class. I don't like to cook. I can take a cooking class at home. I want to spend all of my time shopping and seeing France. Like I don't want
But
this on the itinerary.
she wanted to push it. She kept pushing it.
And I'm like, why is this cooking class so important to her? And everybody else, Jamie too, she's like, I don't want a cooking class. Dion, I don't want a cooking class. And then she finally says, well, it's not a cooking class. It's just a woman I hired to prepare a meal for you. I want you to experience the traditional French meal. And so I'm like, okay, well, we have to eat anyway, so I guess that's fine.
But you thought it was included in the price.
Yes. So then I find out later that she pushes this cooking class on everybody that takes a tour with her. And then this cook or the chef is in this ghost town. That's where she lives. So she has the chef show up, start cooking. Everybody starts eating. And then she makes the announcement that it is 100 euros and we have to pay the chef. And everybody feels pressured because they already have food in their mouth, and everybody pays this 100 euros to the chef, and she plays dumb and says, oh, and everybody's like, well, that wasn't on the itinerary. We thought it was all included with the trip. And then people do it because they don't want to confront, and she makes all of that extra money. Like there were 10 people on our trip, so she would have gotten 100 euros from all 10 of us, when the average meal in France is 15 euros for a very nice meal. So she had a racket going. So when we told her we wanted to leave the ghost town and rent a different Airbnb and that we were checking out 2 days early, her first thing she said to us was, remember, oh, the chef is going to be so disappointed.
Yeah.
No, she was the one who was disappointed because she wasn't going to get her cash.
Yeah. We weren't fully onto her at this point, but we were starting to connect the dots.
Yes, Shelley, this was our tour guide. Yep. So I kind of put all the pieces together after I got back, and I started hearing the other stories of person after person after person who was upset about having to pay the 100 euros to the chef for a meal that was good but not worth 100 euros.
What's this?
It's not correct. She had to advertise to you before. Exactly. But she would play dumb and say, oh, I did add that. And she would go in and add it later after everybody had left. Like
yes, 100 each.
Yeah, which is basically, what, $120 American. Because it's about $1.20.
But that's like 1,000 total for 10 people.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
1,100.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, we're putting pieces together. We all finally decide to just very gently.
We call a meeting.
You called the meeting.
I called the meeting, and I just got everybody together, and she was off, like, what was she doing? She was at the grocery store or something?
Buying milk, probably.
Yeah, buying milk. And I just told everybody, I'm like, look at the itinerary. We have we are here for 3 more days in this ghost town. What are we supposed to do? She already said that the flea market she's taking us to tomorrow morning only has 10 vendors and they may not show up if it rains. I said, you guys really want to spend 3 more days here?
And she had us doing Paris, Monet Gardens, lunch in Paris.
All in one day.
All in one day. Like
on like one
the
of the last
day.
Yeah, when it's too late to even try and make up for time.
Yeah.
So we were like, we have to get the heck out of here if we want to see anything, and we've already wasted an entire day here and a whole another half a day to drive out of here, another 5 hours. Yeah. So we figured out that it would cost us, if we rented a new Airbnb for 2 more nights, and then she had us booked in the last Airbnb for the last 2 nights, because we had 4 nights to go, that it would cost us a total of $95 extra. We were all saying to ourselves, we would gladly each pay an extra $95 to salvage the rest of our trip.
Yeah, but we had to approach it pretty cautiously because we were kind of onto her, but she also had our money,
and she had the vans.
She had the vans in her name. She had the Airbnb in her name at the end, so we couldn't piss her off entirely because she could abandon us even more than she did, which she did.
Yeah.
But anyway, we believe that she was a scam artist, and you have reported her to Facebook, right?
There are several people who are reporting her. I don't want to it's a private page on Facebook, so I don't know how much they want me to reveal, but we are all
there's a due
retelling our
process,
stories
we're
and
doing
following the legal processes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I get upset even talking about it, so I don't like to talk about all the negatives, but I think that we should focus on, you know, what are some good things that we learned. We learned, you know, where to shop. The attic sales are so much better than, you know, the Brocantes, and those are advertised. You can do your own due diligence with that. And
yeah, with
Google
GPS
it.
and modern technology. And the other thing that I learned was, you know, I kind of felt like we were at her mercy as far as finding housing.
Yeah.
And so when we approached her and said, we want to leave this place and rent a new place, she tried to tell us that there weren't any available and that it would be so expensive. And then I just logged into my Airbnb account because I use it all the time. And boom, in 5 minutes, we
Yeah.
found a house for $400 a night, which was what she was telling us we were paying for the
Yeah.
other houses. And so
Everything boils down to research, really.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are planning a trip, you research, and you can get it all done. You can get on TripAdvisor, all that. You can look at all the reviews, and there is if there aren't reviews on somebody's website or somebody's Facebook page, that is a huge red flag. And if they're asking for cash, not PayPal, not credit card,
Yeah.
that is a huge red flag. She didn't allow reviews on her website, so
Yeah.
that's I mean, you know, I didn't do the research, you didn't do the research.
Yeah.
So
And housing is pretty affordable. Like all the places we stayed in were really nice. And I calculated that if you rent an Airbnb house with maybe 4 to 6 people, you're going to pay about $50 a night plus your rental car. And if you stay closer to Paris, you can take the trains. So for a 7-day trip, that's $357 for your lodging, about 15 euros a day for food, maybe 20.
yeah, we had to pay for food regardless. No,
Yeah.
there was no food that was
So-
included in our tour.
We could have done this whole trip for less
Neither-
than
neither-
$1,000.
neither were
instead
all the
of the
places.
2,300 and been way more relaxed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we had to pay for the Monet Gardens, we had to pay for all the tours and the entrance fees, the big bus, going to Paris. We had to pay for all that outside. So what was the fee for? The
It was
van?
because she advertised that she spoke French, that she lives in France half the time, and that she had the insider tips on where to find all the bargains. She never spoke French.
She never helped us. Josie spoke more French than she did, and Josie
Yeah.
did a great job getting us around.
I don't think she actually speaks French. Like every time I asked her to interpret a menu, she would say, "Let's ask the waiter."
And there's Google Translate. You don't even need somebody to speak French. You just scan the menu and Google Translate will
Yeah.
interpret for
So
you.
if you're going to France, look up the word grenier and charity shops. There are tons of charity shops with
Charity, like
Yeah.
not
Like-
cherry.
charity, like
Yeah.
giving to charity. That's
Yeah.
what they call the thrift stores. There's tons of them, which we did not have time to see. We looked in the window of one after it was closed.
We were looking in the
Like, we
window
were
of everything.
trying so hard. So if you're going to France, book a ticket, book your airline in advance. What was our
Stay local in Paris. Stay
Yeah.
local. You can Uber, you can take the train, you can take the subway, there's so many ways to get around, but don't go outside. Like everything can be done in Paris.
Versailles is an hour within Paris. Monet's Gardens is an hour within Paris. There are tons of wonderful Airbnbs that are totally affordable. And you could rent a car for a day to go to all of the charity shops and the greniers and probably do the whole trip for under $1,500 instead of we paid $23 plus our airline was
About $1,000.
$1,000, so we paid $3,300 when you could probably do it all for $1,700, $1,500.
And then
less.
whatever fees you would pay to, bring your stuff home, like. Because we didn't buy a ton, but we bought probably a full. Are you copying me?
Yeah. The power of suggestion.
Yeah.
You usually copy me.
Funny.
And you don't need to speak French. Most people did speak English, and if you ask them, parlez-vous français, they try to speak English, and it was really not that hard.
Yeah.
Um,
So So I just think we're still learning a lot. I mean, I definitely, I'm a queen of research, and I know why now that I am.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying yes to anything unless I've done my research.
Yeah. So I want to tell you one more story that is going to be in my next video. I just told the story in front of the camera, in front of my new dresser, which I'm going to show you guys in a second.
You guys get the
But-
sneak peek. It has
Yeah.
not been put out there yet.
But this is another big thing that I learned that will save you $200.
What?
The suitcase situation.
Oh yeah.
So on our last day in France, we spent it at the flea markets in Paris, and we did end up finding some bargains. The bargains are not at the famous Paris flea market. What's that called? The Poussey or something?
Yeah.
I don't know the
That
spelling
was
again.
expensive.
But if you travel just a few blocks outside of there, there are sketchier areas that are, there are some great bargains to be found. But go with other people, watch your pockets and your purse, because that's where the pickpockets are. But I didn't have anyone approach me. I was really cautious, and I did find, that's where I found the bulk of my items on that last day. But she didn't tell us about it. We had to find it on our own. I think Jamie and Zeb found it. But so we spent the whole day there, then we went out to dinner, and we knew that we had to be in the car packed the next morning at 5 a.m. in order to give us 3 hours to get through customs at the airport to get our flight home. And you do definitely need those 3 hours.
I would say 4. And the Paris or any of those, you need 4 hours for
Because
international
traffic
flights.
is an issue there.
And you have like 3 to 4 points that you have to, checkpoints that you have to get through. And we would have not made it. We had 2.5. We were trying for 3, but I don't think we would have made it even with 3 without that guy's
Yeah.
help.
Traffic is an issue in France. We were an hour outside of France, or outside of the airport. We left at 5 a.m. We had it all calculated. Danielle, Mara, and I were the first flight out, and then Zeb and Jamie and Dion and Josie left a few hours after us. So we all got in the van. Our tour guide was in the van behind us. We went in 2 vans because she was returning one of them, and Zeb was driving the other one. And so they were going to go return the van after they dropped us off at our terminal so that we would have plenty of time to check in. So Zeb and the tour guide have a conversation outside of the vans that morning, and Danielle had done her research. And you want to explain this part?
Well, I just kept saying, we need to be there 3 hours. We need to be there at 3 hours. We need to leave at this time and be dropped off first. And so,
But explain the terminal thing, like on the map.
it was just that we left out of Terminal 1, but it's not like your San Diego airport where you just pull up to Terminal 1. You have to be driven to Terminal 2, and you can't check your bags in at Terminal 2. You have to like go underground, catch a train, go all the way to Terminal 1, and then run to the area where you check your bags in. But that's you're going up and down all the time, and the escalators and the elevators are not by each other like you would logically think. And so we've got 4 luggages for each of us.
Packed.
We can't do the escalator. That's impossible. So we're looking for elevators, not finding them.
Well, okay, but Terminal 1 wasn't on the map. And so Danielle's like telling Zeb, how do we get to Terminal 1? Like from the car, where do you drop us off?
Yeah, well, with a little research, I figured it out.
Yeah,
but they were
but-
trying to get us to Terminal 1, and you
But
can't.
our tour guide lives half the time in California and the other half in France. So she has done this at least 24 times.
But she
So
didn't tell us.
Yeah, we asked her, and she told Zeb, as soon as I will follow you to the airport, as soon as we approach the airport, I will pull ahead of you and take you to where you need to drop them off so they can get to their terminal. So when we get to the airport, she does not pull ahead. And Zeb is texting her, and Jamie is texting her saying, pull ahead. You said you'd pull ahead. Which exit did we take? And you know how it is at the airport. If you don't take it, you miss it.
Yeah.
And she refused to pull ahead. So then we had to circle the entire airport and get stuck in traffic. And it took us 45 minutes to get back to where we missed our turnoff.
Yeah.
And my sister at this point has a look on her face like, there's steam coming out of her ears, and she's really quiet, and she's like this, and she's like, I don't like this, I don't like this, Debbie, I hate this is exactly what I hate, I don't like this. And I'm just like, and I'm just praying, dear God, please don't let us miss our flight, please don't let us. And I'm afraid to look at her, she's so mad. So then finally we circle again, and Zeb is like, I'm just gonna drop you off here because we don't have any time to waste, and we're just gonna wing it. So he drops us off at the first place he can drop us.
Which was really not even technically a drop-off point. He
It was
just
like
kind of made an illegal
yeah spot just to get us to a doorway.
And here we are, four luggages each. And we're racing.
We're running through the airport, and we stop and we ask this lady, and she tells us we need to go down here and then go up the stairs and get on a train.
Up and down.
And so we're on the train, we're trying to get off at the Terminal 2, and then we finally get to the Terminal 2, and then it's downstairs, and we see the escalator, and I'm like, there's no way I can go down the escalator with 4 huge suitcases. So we're trying to find the elevator, it's not there, and then it's tiny. We finally find it, and we're all just jam-packed in there, and then it won't, we push the button to go down, and it won't go down.
I'm like, get out! Get out! We're taking the escalator.
And I'm like, I don't want to take the escalator. I'm too scared. I'm not going to be able to do it. And Danielle's like, Debbie, you have to do it. Because when you get to the end of the escalator, there's like a little speed bump, and you have to lift up your suitcase. Otherwise, your suitcase falls back. And I've got this super heavy, huge suitcase. I'm like, I don't know if I can do it. And what were you saying?
Well,
I'm going to show you the suitcase.
It's all a blur. There.
This was just one of my suitcases, and this was the heaviest one, and this is the one that I was holding on to, and then I had my smaller bag stacked on top of this, plus I had 2 other suitcases behind me. So I've got 4, Danielle's got 4, Mara has 4, and so we're going down the escalator, and I'm the first one, and I am just praying. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can do this. Like trying to juggle behind me, plus this one, plus the one on top of it. So I get to the very end, and I lift up on it, but it's not enough. And so
it was her suitcase was 80 pounds. Like she needed to,
plus the one on
that's the
on
other
top
tip.
Of it.
You need a scale that works.
Yes, I had weighed it, and I thought it weighed under the 50 pounds. So the scale was wrong. And so when I lifted it up, it fell backwards on me because there was another one balancing, like it came out of balance when I tried to lift it up. So I fall backwards, and my legs go out like this, and I fall on Danielle, and then you fell. Did you like completely fall down?
I fell on her, and
my
luggage kind of like piled on top of her.
And it was just this big domino, and then the suitcases are like going like this because they can't get out of the opening, and my legs are like stuck. So I'm like revolving because my legs are wider than.
And Mara behind us is doing the crab walk.
Yeah, she's got her legs on the side so that she doesn't fall into us, and everybody behind her is also with their legs like braced on the edges so that they don't get propelled into us. And then these strangers came and like helped me get my legs to fit through so I would slide out, and then they grabbed my luggage. And we didn't even have time to cry or laugh or anything.
I had time to call out to Jesus. I was Jesus, help us!
Yeah. So then we all get up and we just start running toward the TSA line. And then when we get there, what happens?
Well, Jesus helped us, I think.
It was the TSA
The line was way long, and at that point I realized we are not going to make our flight. There's no way if we have to stay in this line. And so Mara just starts screaming, someone please help. And out of nowhere, this TSA guy, and French people have not been nice to us up until now. And he just kind of, he looked at us a little mean, but there was goodness in his heart. It was like an angel from heaven, because he's like, give me your passports. He's like, where are you going? We're like, San Diego. And we're like, or San Francisco is where we were headed. And we're like, we're late. And we've got all this luggage. We're going to miss our flight. And he took our passports. Follow me. And he led us to the front of the line, and we're looking at each other because now he's got all 3 of our passports and he's walking off. And so we're like, follow him. So he takes us to the front of the line. He labels us priority and pushes us in front of everyone. And had he not done that,
we would have missed the
we would have
flight.
missed it.
Yeah.
Because even by doing that, we still had 3 security points to go to, and we still arrived at the gate when they were boarding. Like we
Barely
Barely.
made it. So then it's time to weigh my suitcase, and it is 20 pounds overweight. And Sarah had a little suitcase weight thing, and you're supposed to lift it up, and it tells you how much the suitcase weighs, and it didn't work. Like I thought I was 48 pounds, but no, I was 20 pounds over, and it was a $200 fee. And usually, like, I've been over before, and I always allow myself extra time, and then I just reshuffle my suitcases, and it's fine. I don't have to pay. I had 3 other suitcases.
There's good tips with this. I'm not a fan of these giant suitcases because you inevitably, if you're trying to load it, you're going to go over in weight. And the fees that they charge you are more for weight than had you just bought an extra suitcase and paid the fee for like they allow you 2 on some flights for free.
So it would have been $35 instead of $200.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of, buying an extra suitcase, paying the penalty to have an extra, and distributing 50 pounds, 50 pounds, 50 pounds. And have a scale. That's your biggest tip.
And
I think.
allow extra time.
And
yeah,
allow
so that
extra
was a
time.
big, like Mara was over by 5 pounds, but she quickly reshuffled and was able to avoid the fee. And did you hear what happened to Dion?
No.
Dion only came with 1 suitcase and her purse. And she had a suitcase this size. We weren't there for her because her flight was later than us. But Dion gets up to the thing and she's 10 pounds overweight. And the guy tries to give her the $200 fee. And she looked at the guy and she goes, but what am I supposed to do? And because Dion is so stinking cute, the guy just goes, just put it on. And he didn't charge her.
Probably because it was only 10, but if it had been your 80, he wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. So,
But anyway, I
there
hope
is-
we haven't complained too much. We've been on for 40 minutes, and I don't think it was our intent to complain, but it was more.
But there's good tips.
good tips.
Don't go with a giant suitcase. If you really have a lot that you want to bring back on an awesome trip, then bring smaller suitcases and evenly distribute.
Allow
and pay.
plenty of time when you're international coming
Yeah.
home.
I even think, I think Kathy had 6 suitcases. So I think if it's $35 for an extra suitcase, you could still pay $70 to get a bunch of stuff back versus the $200 that I paid
Yeah,
with 2 extra suitcases.
yeah,
Because they allow you 2,
yeah.
and then you can check 1. So if you wanted to check 4 suitcases, it would cost you $70, not $200.
Oh, Melanie, yes, venting is healing, and I think we vented a lot.
Yeah.
So thank you
So
for
to
letting us.
recap, use Airbnb. When we were on the Red Bus tour, you travel through France, and I have so much amazing footage of our trip on the Red Bus tour that I'm going to share in future videos.
Okay, I have an amazing tip for the Red Bus tour. Let me say this. The Big Bus tour, okay? Big bus only. That's the one to go through. You have options to buy 1 day, 2 day, or 3 day. Buy the 3 day. Take the first day, don't get off. Just go the whole thing and see everything from the upper deck. Get your spot on the upper deck, see it all. Decide where you want to get off, map it out. Then the second day, get off where you mapped it out and take the blue line and do that another day. And then the third day, do it again because you can't see it all in 1 day. You can't even see it all in 2 days. And you really want to see it all relaxed from the upper deck.
It's amazing from the upper deck.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And you want to start in the morning and end at night because the Eiffel Tower is beautiful in the morning and end at night.
It was so pretty going under it at night. So what was my tip about the
Big bus.
The big, I had a tip about it.
Oh,
I can't remember.
sorry, I interrupted.
I don't know what my tip was.
But you.
Oh, on the big bus tour, we're going through the streets of France, and up above all the shops are all these apartment buildings above the shops, and the tour guide said that those used to be residences of the Parisians, but now they have rented them out as Airbnbs, and they're super affordable. So you could actually stay a couple nights in the heart of Paris and walk to everything, or take the bus tour and walk around in a really nice section of Paris for like really affordable, like maybe $20 a night in a Paris apartment. Like there are so many options. Look on Airbnb.
It's huge. Paris
Consider
is huge.
staying a couple nights in Paris itself. And check out the greniers and the charity shops. Go to the flea market that's in Paris, but go with people and go see the sketchy part, because that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah,
else?
Maggie.
Monet's Gardens and Versailles is definitely a must see.
Maggie says it's better to pick day trips from your central location. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So we have a lot to cover in the next 20 minutes, and I think we should give you bonus time a little, because we are,
Yeah,
late.
we're catching up.
So if there's something specific you really want us to cover, put it in the comments, but you wanted to update them on what's coming.
Okay, so we're catching up on the worksheets. This month's worksheet is going to be a breakdown of my new dresser with the new IOD molds, which we're
That
going to show you.
nobody has seen
Nobody's
yet.
seen it yet. I'm editing it right now, and we're also going to do another live from my shop, an insider tour when the shop is closed. I'm going to show you all of my process for running the store, what sells in my store, how I do my displays, how I do all of my kits. I'm going to just take you through the entire store, behind the counter, out in the backyard where we run our classes, our back rooms, and share with you tips for selling during the holidays, or hosting an event during the holidays. And I don't know what.
Marianne, the
yeah.
new molds are wonderful.
Yeah.
That's what this project is.
Let me hold up the new molds. I have 3 of them here. I think there's 10 new molds. So, about 2 months ago, Sally and Josie asked me if I wanted a goodie box filled with all of their new products that weren't out on the market yet. And of course I said yes. So they sent me 3 of their new molds and a handful of their new stamps. And I have been sitting on these for 2 months. And so when I opened the box and I saw these molds, I immediately knew what I was going to do with them, because I have a secret Pinterest board where I pin all of the inspiration for projects I want to do in the future. And there's this dresser from Anthropologie that is amazing. Maybe you can
I'll
you
put
go
it up?
on Anthropologie and put in bird dresser. So in order to make this dresser, I needed molds with birds on them, and I needed leaves and flowers. And so the first thing that I opened was this mold right here with the giant flowers and the leaves. And then I opened this mold with all the amazing birds. And then there were butterflies. And I'm like, oh yes, I am gonna incorporate those butterflies into my design.
it?
Yeah, that's it. So this, I don't know if you can see it. I'll post it in our private community tab. But this dresser right here, can you see that? That is something that I saw 2 years ago, and I'm like, I want to create that with clay. And I never had the bird. I didn't know how I would make birds. I didn't want to try and hand carve birds.
Wow,
So-
you did a great job.
Yeah, so I'll post the actual picture in our private group so you can see it. But this is the video that I'm editing right now.
And this dresser is $1,500.
Yeah. So Danielle, why don't you move the camera? Because I'm a little scared. I think we
Are
can.
you gonna show them?
Yeah,
You're gonna show
I told
them.
them I would show them.
Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna see. There it is.
There it is.
Wait, let him get a.
Well,
I'm gonna-
it's really heavy. I
I'm
don't
gonna
think
be Vanna White.
Let me see if I can.
No, you're good. You're good.
Am I good? Sorry if I'm making you guys dizzy.
No, you're getting too close because it's not going to be in the photo now.
Well, here, let me drop the camera down a little.
Yeah, there you go.
There. So can you see that? So,
I'm going to be Vanna.
what are the, I can't see the comments now. Let me see.
The angle of the camera is making the dresser look really itty bitty, but it's
Yeah.
not that small.
So read the comment. So I have the flower molds and the bird molds and the leaves, but all of these branches right here, I didn't know how I was going to create the branches. So I'm really excited about the technique that I came up with, and you guys are going to be the first to hear it. But keep it a secret because I want it to be revealed in the video. I show exactly how I do it in the video. But basically,
The video comes out when?
the video is going to be out I'm editing it right now, so just as soon as I can get it edited, so hopefully in the next 72 hours, maybe sooner. I'm looking for some clay. I don't think I have any. I don't have any clay here, but the way that I created this branch is that I took the IOD clay and I rolled it into snakes, like the size of a hot dog. And then I put the snakes flat on a surface, and I took the wood grain stamp. Has anyone used, you know, that wood grain stamp that I used to make the wreath? It looks, there's like three or four different layers, and it looks like wood grain, it looks like bark, and I just pressed it down on top of the clay snakes, and then all of this amazing texture came out into the snakes. And then I just applied it, and I pinched it, and I molded it, and I twisted it, and I created the branch lines. I first chalked it out to make it balanced, to make it look like my inspiration picture from Anthropology. And I put all the bark and the branches, and it wraps around the edges.
Lots of comments about how beautiful it is. Lois Armstrong is asking, how long did this take you?
See the side here? It took me a solid week in between all of my other responsibilities. You know, and like this, the kinds of things that I do for videos, I always go a little crazy with it. You could certainly, you could do this to a jewelry box. You could do this to a nightstand. You could do it on a much smaller scale. It doesn't have to be as intricate, but like this could even be on a vase or a lamp, or you know, the back of a chair. It could be growing up the legs of a chair.
Look at, you even went.
Yeah, I went inside so that it matches the design. So I put all the clay on, and then I put the paint on, and then the magic happened when I applied the white wax. This is all layered chocolate right here. But when I applied the white wax and rubbed it off, that's where all of the detail of the branch and the bark came out.
Somebody's asking about the legs, Cobweb Afternoon. So there are legs, and you put the molds on the legs.
I did. So this is just.
See if I can help. Let's lift it up a little.
It's really, really heavy.
So
I just applied it to the front. It's just a board that runs along the back. I wanted a dresser that didn't have any knobs on it because the Anthropology dresser was a really modern dresser without any knobs, and I knew there was going to be a lot going on, so I wanted to find a dresser that didn't have knobs. You can get a dresser like this at IKEA. I got mine at Target, and I ended up putting it together myself. You know, it's one of those kinds that come in a box. And that took an entire day because
But you did that because you needed.
I wanted this look.
Style. Yeah.
But you don't have to. Like, if I were to do it over, I probably would have just got a vintage dresser.
Yeah.
Because I hate putting that furniture together. But if you have an IKEA piece that needs a facelift, this is the perfect look for that. And then the drawers just open like this.
Okay, you want to come back over here?
Yeah.
All right. Let me know if this is.
I think that's good. Okay, so Are there legs on the dresser? We answered that. Cobweb afternoon. It's my goal, but I have to build up to this level. I don't know what you mean by that, Lois. Did you paint the molds before you glued them on? No, I never.
Hold on. I can't seem to get this.
You're gonna have to. Whoa.
Hold on, kids.
I'm over here.
There we go.
I never paint the molds. I put them on first. Like I put the base coat on the dresser, all of the green background, and I blended it. And then I applied all of my molds, glued them on. I let them dry overnight because you want them to be really dry, so that you can really pounce and get all of the wax and the crevices. And so I applied all the molds. And here's another really great trick for molds. You do not want to let them dry off the surface because they kind of curl up and they shrink up a little bit. So if you just want to do a day where you're just making molds like crazy and you're watching a movie, you can go to town and make 100 molds and watch a movie, but put them in the freezer if you're not going to glue them all down immediately.
That was in the last download, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that was.
That's something that Mara LaFay shared with me. So just put them in Ziploc bags and keep them in the freezer because you don't want them to curl up and dry out and then they won't apply flush to your surface. So if you just feel like having a mold making day and you're not ready to go glue them on, or you're tired, or it's midnight and you're like, oh man, I made all these molds, but I want to go to bed now, just put them in the freezer and wait till the next day.
Yeah, in
So-
last month's download, which is still available, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The common questions when working with paper clay download, it was for Paint Basics. There's so many good tips in there on how to work with the paper clay.
Dawn, I will be selling this piece because I don't have any more room in my house.
And she needs the money to make up for that horrible Paris trip.
Yeah, I
so.
gotta make up my $200 suitcase fee at least. Should you put wax paper between the layers in the freezer? That's probably a good idea. I just always just use several baggies and leave them in there so that I don't pile them on top of each other. But to get back to my process, I glue all the molds in place with wood glue or white glue. Aleene's tacky glue is great. You can use painter's tape to keep them sliding, or you could turn the dresser on its back. I never do turn the dresser down on its back because I like to look at it from eye level perspective, because a lot of times you can't see the perspective of the layout if you're working across an entire piece of furniture. So I like to keep it upright so I can step back and I can make sure that everything is where I want it to be. And a lot of times I'll glue it on and I'm like, no, that branch needs to be lower or it needs to bend. And it's not that big of a deal. Like I'll just scrape off the glue and paint over it again. And because I paint with a lot of texture, it's no biggie. Then I glue all the molds on. I give that a good day to dry. And then I go back and I paint over the molds. And when I'm totally happy with it, then I apply the wax. Because once you apply that wax, it's really hard to blend or change anything. It's like the sealer, it's like the final exclamation point at the end of the sentence.
Yeah, the video is awesome. Yeah, she'll explain all of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the video will be more detail of the story I told you tonight, and it will be the whole nitty-gritty process of how I made the dresser. And when do you think we're gonna go live again?
So, yeah, I forced Debbie to go live tonight because I just thought it would be perfect. And it was like the end of the month. So I want to keep her, because I'm structured, I'm going to keep
I
her
love
on
her for that.
schedule. So we will go live next month and maybe we'll give you guys a bonus live. So
I
maybe
want to
one
go live from the
store.
store, so
Okay.
it would be better to do that in the daytime. So let us know in the comments, like, what the best day is for you to during
Maybe
like,
a Monday.
a Monday or
Because
maybe
nobody's
a
in the
Saturday.
store.
Oh yeah, Monday we're closed.
So Monday might be a good day to go live. If that's a good day for everybody, then we'll give you guys some time ahead of time notification.
Yeah.
Mondays, and then we'll do the normal live we like to do at the end of the month on a Sunday. So that's kind of our structured one. But the bonus one we'll do maybe before Thanksgiving. You leave for that let's see.
I leave for South Carolina next Wednesday.
So maybe we'll do like Monday the 11th. No, are you back? Yeah, maybe the 11th.
Monday.
Oh no,
the
that's
11th.
Veterans Day. That might not be good.
But that might be good because a lot of people are off work. I don't know. Let us know in the comments if Monday the 11th works for you or not.
The 11th? Maybe the
Yeah.
11th. We'll go live from Debbie's store during the day, and then we'll go live at the end of the month. The end of the
Yeah.
month is going to be Thanksgiving weekend, but
Dawn, we are fully decorated for Christmas. That's why I want to give you the tour and kind of walk you
no,
through
the
my
end of the
whole
month
holiday
is November
process.
24th. So we could go live on the 11th from Debbie's store during the day, and then Sunday the 24th, 6:30.
Our
we
normal
can go
time.
live. Yeah, normal time. So and then the downloads. I don't know. Are you
Am I
guys
going to North Carolina or South Carolina?
South Carolina?
Kathy, I'm going to the Rachel Hollis Business Conference. So that's why I'm there. I'm there for 3 days, which is an amazing event. If you're interested, I think they still have tickets.
It's a business event, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 11th works. Okay. Monday is
Okay,
good.
and then we're late on the September download. Here's my request. I don't know if this will work with you guys or Debbie, but I'm thinking if we give you a bonus live, maybe you could forgive us for the download of September, and then we'll just stay on track
And make
instead of trying to shove out 2 downloads.
or make it extra long for September. Put in some.
Yeah,
bonus.
we'll put in some extra tips for October, make it some extra bonus stuff, and then do an extra live. And then that way we're not trying to chase the past and just move forward. That's how, I think it'll work better. We're
We'll
going
see how
into
it
the
goes.
holidays. We want to give you as much as possible, but
Okay.
does that work?
We'll find out. If not,
Okay.
we can just keep giving bonus pages.
We want to
through
give
to
you
the
guys
end.
what you want too. So this is your channel,
Yeah.
Bonuses are great.
Okay. Let us know. If not, we'll figure it out. Yeah. So I
So what
think
is the next download? What are you
The
going to
next-
cover?
the next download? The next download is going to be a breakdown of the dresser. It's going to be a breakdown of our insider tips for France and some pictures of France that I haven't shared yet.
And maybe some like holiday info?
Some holiday tips and info.
Okay.
Some info if you are selling at a holiday craft fair or if you just want holiday decorating ideas.
Grandpa says the escalator story was a bonus.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's worth something then, all of that pain. I'm glad you
Okay.
feel that way, you guys. And let us know if there's anything you want to that you want to know that we haven't shared with you. We can do that, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think.
How are we
that's it.
doing?
I think we're good.
Well, we got a couple minutes. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, questions. Let's have some questions. I love answering questions.
Yeah, we haven't did we miss any?
Yeah.
We haven't answered any questions. You
Are
guys
you
have been-
OD'd on candy? 'Cause it's Halloween.
Keto. I love keto candy.
Yeah. You know what? Keto is
Keto,
good
have
in
you heard
France.
of keto? Choc keto.
No.
CHOC keto.
No.
Chockketo.com is a great place to get chocolate. Keto.
Are we
chocolate.
gonna make those keto tamales for Christmas this year? Did you see the recipe I tagged you in? Like there's a way to make tamales because it's shredded beef,
Yeah.
right? But there's like a tamale masa that doesn't have the corn in it, and it looked
time
really
is it?
good.
The 11th, we'll pick a time probably around what, noon or something
Yeah,
like
because
that.
I want to go live in the daytime so that you can see everything outside. Cause
So somewhere between noon and 4 Pacific time.
Okay, Maggie has an interesting question. If you go to an antique mall and the person on duty is saying ugly things about the DIY retailer, what should you do?
Oh, wow.
Send me an email and let me know what they're saying so that I can investigate. We are really, really meticulous about our DIY retailers. And when we sign a DIY retailer, the application process is pretty intense. Like you have to, like our main goal is that we protect our retailers because they invest a lot of money in becoming a retailer, and we have had people pretend to be retailers so that they can get the paint at wholesale. And my business is geared towards supporting our retailers and supporting other small businesses like mine. So we put them through the process because we want to make sure that they're legit, that they're really going to sell the paint and not hoard it and keep it all for themselves to paint furniture. So when you fill out the application, you have to send a picture of the storefront. You have to send a picture of the front counter. You have to send a picture of your booth if you're renting a booth. You have to send pictures of the surrounding store, and you have to give us a reference to the person who runs the store if it's not your store, and we check the references. So we want our retailers to be successful and have a good experience. So Maggie, if you feel like this retailer is in jeopardy, let me know so that we can call the mall and the retailer and figure out what's going on, because my number one job is to make sure that our retailers have all the tools to succeed.
Yeah.
So, stood by the booth and talked about
how did you, it
wonderful
sounds like
product
it's
is
a
from-
mall owner issue, but okay, how did you G. Willikers, how did you decide to only discontinue one color?
The one color that we discontinued was Pedal Pusher, and it's because I had this vision for this color in mind, and it's really the French blue that I saw everywhere in France, and Pedal Pusher just didn't come out. It's like a little bit off of what I had in my mind, and it's hard, like without actually like painting a whole wall with the color and looking at it at all different times of day to know that you are getting it right. And so Pedal Pusher was the one color that didn't sell, so we have discontinued it, but it's kind of like the secret menu at Starbucks. If you really want that color, your retailer can order it for you. You can't get it on the website, but they can order it for you because we have the technology to make one quart at a time in the exact color and never be off. So if you really need it, you can get it, but we are hoping to replace that with the amazing French blue that I saw in France. So I'm still working on it and tweaking it and trying to figure out what exactly that color is. I brought a few paint chips back with me, and believe it or not, getting a color just right is quite the process. 16 miles away from a current retailer, is that too close? Melanie, it depends on the population. So we never put retailers within 10 miles of each other, but sometimes we put them even further apart, just depending. We Google map it, we look at the population density, we look at the routes there and the freeways. So you would have to send us an application with the address that you have in mind, and then we would kind of take it from there. But generally 16 miles is really iffy.
And the application doesn't commit you, it just starts the process of investigation, so,
Yeah. Some of our retailers are on here, and they usually appreciate all the effort that we go to. I ordered off the DIY paint site today and didn't see Golden Ticket. Golden Ticket isn't always on our website. This is another thing that goes back to, we have our website that we sell to the public, but more than anything, we want you to go in and meet your local retailer, because they'll put the paintbrush in your hand, they'll show you techniques, and we want you to have that experience. But we realize not everybody can, so we do have our website. But the Golden Ticket, the reason why it's named Golden Ticket is because it's rare, and the pigments that we use to make it, the company that we order it from, they never have enough. And so we will get a batch of Golden Ticket made, and we will only have like 300 containers of it.
and
so
offer it to the retailer
we
first?
offer it to the retailers first, and if there's any left over, we put it on the public website. But for the most part, our retailers always have it. I have it in my store right now. So if you really want it, find a local retailer. Lots of them ship. Jamie Ray ships. Melanie from Windmill Vintage Designs, I think she ships. Debbie Fimmer ships. There are several who ship. So you can get it, and they will happily ship it to you, but we want it to go through our retailers before it goes through us. What else? My retailer in Albuquerque is totally incredible. Maggie, that would be Melanie Whitaker from Windmill Vintage Designs, and she has an amazing YouTube channel. I suggest you check it out, and she is totally incredible. We love her. The color, that's the color of my marine picked. I'm not finished and almost out. G. Willikers, are you talking about pedal pusher? Because
yeah, he says where. Oh, that's Cobweb Afternoon. Where can we see a picture of pedal pusher?
I can post it in our private group. I still have the picture. I've taken it off the website, but I can post it. As a retailer, I love how Debbie takes care of us. This is an amazing company that really wants to succeed. That's true. I've owned my store for 21 years, and I know how hard it is to own a store. And when I started the paint company, I never wanted to be the owner of a paint company. Like, my favorite thing to do is make YouTube videos. And I knew how much work it was because I'd been with other paint companies, and it's a lot of work. And I knew that it would take me away from my videos. So I just told myself, if I'm going to do this, I am going to do this for other people like me who own stores or who have small businesses, whether it's a booth or whether you're selling at a craft show. And I wanted it to be very retailer friendly and retailers first. And many paint companies don't even have territories. They'll sell to someone across the street. They'll sell on Amazon. We don't do that because I know how hard it is to make money with a retail store. It's very challenging.
You featured a peacock piece in your story, Grey Gardens. What's that? I wanted to thank
Grey
you.
Gardens, yeah. And we feature our retailers all the time, so follow us on Instagram. Grey Gardens is another, okay, Grey Gardens. Do you have another
name? Oh, that's
name?
her retailer. Okay, I
get it. Okay, so Grey Gardens you are their customer and we featured your peacock piece. That's cool. Awesome.
Vintage vibes, good vibes.
Ellie, my niece, did you guys see the pictures of Ellie getting married? I posted a bunch of them on Facebook. Ellie runs my Instagram, so I will send her an album of things that I like, and then she posts them for me and puts all the captions. So a lot of times I am not caught up with Instagram. I have to go back and see what she posted in the last week because I've been traveling. But I ask her to specifically post pictures from our retailers and pictures from our customers. So I'm so excited that you got featured.
That's awesome.
Hopefully you got some new followers on Instagram. Okay, what else? I love this paint and the opportunity to be a retailer. Just completed my first month of sales and have a few regular customers already. That's awesome, Amy. Glad to hear it.
All right.
Yeah, we love our retailers, definitely. And we're getting new ones all the time.
Oh yeah, Amazon.
We do not sell on Amazon. We don't sell on Etsy. We want all the sales to go through small brick and mortar stores. Gray's is my retailer also. You're in Pompano Beach. Grey Gardens is amazing. They do some amazing work. They're another person to follow on Facebook and Instagram for sure. We have amazing retailers. Like, they are so good. I haven't met a retailer that I didn't love. Mara is great. Like, we are just surrounded.
Mara came back from France totally inspired. She's pumping out good stuff like crazy.
Do any of you follow Mara LaFay, Vintage Retail Therapy? She's fantastic.
Yeah, she's
and Dion came back totally inspired. That's one thing we should say, is that the art in France is amazing. And I came back just like, I want to paint. I want to try painting canvases, and I've never done it. But the art there was so beautiful. I mean, how can you go to Monet's Gardens and not want to at least try? So I don't know how it will look.
I think as far as I'll go is maybe one of those paint and sips, you know.
Yeah. Do you think you're better at painting if you're drinking a glass of wine at the same time?
I love doing hair. That's my creative outlet, but I don't know. I could never paint furniture.
Melanie Bright says that She Paints is her retailer, but she hasn't had the joy of meeting her. So Kristen from She Paints, she does a live show on the DIY paint page on Facebook.
She is awesome.
She impersonated Miranda Sings tonight, which is my favorite YouTuber. If you don't follow Miranda Sings, you are missing it. Mostly it's teenage girls who follow her, but I love her. I have tickets to her show in San Diego on my birthday this year. But Kristen does a great impression of Miranda Sings, and because it's Halloween, she dressed up like her, she sang, she talked like her. It's hilarious. If you follow Kristen, go check out the DIY paint page. I was laughing.
I do have a picture of that painting she did for me.
Oh yeah, she also paints
Oh my gosh.
portraits.
I gotta
So-
show you guys this. This is absolutely amazing. She
She is-
painted a picture of me with my 2 daughters, and I commissioned her to do this.
She told Dion
And-
totally did, Maggie.
Oh my gosh, she did such an amazing job. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna find it. You keep talking while I
Did you
do.
see the blue cabinet that Dion painted for her house after she got back from France? It's
Yes.
the blue iris with the gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dion totally captured the look of France with her blue china cabinet. You'll have to go check out her page and see that if you haven't seen it. She's keeping that one. She's not selling it. It has golden ticket in it. It's got blue iris. All of her wedding china is in it. It is to die for.
I can't find it.
You can't
so
find
bummed.
it.
Where was it?
Did you save it in your favorites? Well, we'll post it in the community tab.
We'll post it later, but
Yeah.
Kristen Calhoun was, she just did an amazing.
She took a picture of Danielle and her daughters and copied it. Sorry, getting a notification. And it is awesome. She is so good. So
Yeah.
check out She Paints. Check out Melanie Whitaker of Windmill Vintage Designs. Check out Grey Gardens. Check out Mara LaFay. Who else did we talk about tonight? Some of our retailers are in the chat right now. Go click on their names and see if they have YouTube channels or Facebook pages or Instagram pages, because we have amazing retailers.
Yeah.
We definitely do.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I guess if you guys don't have any more questions, we'll sign off. But
Yeah, I
unless
think that's
there's,
it. Want to eat some keto candy?
I think all the trick or treaters are gone. I can go home now.
Yeah.
Found a new use for your paint. Mixed it with Vaseline for black hair goop.
Oh wow!
For Halloween.
It's non-toxic, so I guess that would work. Missed the beginning.
Empress Noel. So like, is that to cover gray or for a costume?
Black hair goop. Maybe it's just like to slick your hair back.
That's really interesting.
She's a hairdresser.
Yes,
Yes,
he
he
was
was
Vampire Santa. Can I
Ah.
ask a question? Did you have to shampoo it out? Did it stain? Was it hard to, like, I don't know, maybe you still have it in your hair, but I would like to know, for future clientele, if that was hard to get out, because black is hard, like, especially if you're blonde or anything. Let me know.
We had a wonderful evening too, G. Willikers. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, everyone for joining us. Yeah, our black is super pigmented. It covers in one coat. So, that would be interesting to see. I wonder, I should try and use it to, like, do roof touch-up.
Yeah, cover up your gray. Wouldn't that be amazing if it,
Yeah.
well, it might put me out of business.
Easy to get off. Will come off with warm water and soap. Good to know.
Okay.
And Vintage Vibes is following all of our retailers. I am so happy to hear that. Came off my hands with cold water. Good night, ladies, and thank you. Happy Halloween. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks for joining us on Halloween. We hope we didn't scare you with our tales of France. We love you. We will see you soon. Hopefully,
We will see you
on the
hopefully
11th?
Monday the 11th. Somewhere in the afternoon, we will definitely give you a heads up
Yep.
and give you some tips.
Yep. All right. Have a good night.